Hi there, this is Justin Krane, certified financial planner professional and founder of Krane Financial Solutions. Welcome to Money You Got This. So how can you really live? How? By uniting your business money, your personal money with your life and your business. Word up.
Krane Financial is an SEC-registered investment advisor. However, such registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and no inference to the contrary should be made. A copy of our current written disclosure statement discussing our advisory services and fees is available upon request. Information contained herein is for informational and illustrative purposes only, and general in nature. It should not be considered specific financial planning or investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any type of securities or other investment products.
Hey everyone, welcome to Money You Got This. This show is brought to you by Krane Financial Solutions. I'm Justin Krane. I'm a certified financial planner professional. We offer investment management services and financial planning for entrepreneurs. I'm also the author of the book, Money You Got This. It's great. You should get it. I'm psyched you're listening to the show. I want to give you this free report, 3 things multimillionaires do to grow their wealth. Just go to coolmoneyshow.com to grab it. That's coolmoneyshow.com to grab it. Thanks. All right. Today's guest, someone super cool. Like, this is something that we all know that we need to deal with, but you kind of put off, but you're like, oh, I've got to do this. It's like taxes or buying life insurance or doing your estate plan. What is it for you entrepreneur busy people? Human resources, your people, your employees. Today, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Teresa Murphey. She runs Higher Ventures. Before I tell you all about her, let me just welcome Teresa to the show. Teresa, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not sure how I feel about being like a necessary evil, but I'll I'll take it.
Got it.
HR
Okay.
definitely can be.
Well, I think it's an asset, and we're going to talk about this on the show. Like, if you have a good staff and good team and good HR advice, I think it's an asset. I don't think it's a liability. I don't even think it's an expense. It's an investment. And me being a CFP, why not make great investments? So who is Higher Ventures? Higher Ventures provides expert level on-demand HR recruiting services and advisory services to small growing business owners, making them more strategic, effective, and successful. So who is Teresa? All right, let's cut right to the chase. She likes to camp. She's a major glamper. And for all of you people listening to the show that like know you need to go to Montana, but you don't even know where it is on the map, she's got some massive Montana props, knows where to go, can give you an amazing itinerary. Forget about HR and strategic recruiting and whatnot. If you need to go to Montana, you got to reach out to Teresa because she knows all about it and she'll tell you why. All right, putting that aside, back to the main thing. The main thing is Teresa's got experience. She's got all the credentials. She's married with 24 kids. She's got a great experience in running an HR company. She's a member of EO, which I'm at. She's participated in the Accelerator, which is an organization that teaches up-and-coming entrepreneurs about business. And she's amazing. And I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here.
All right, cool. All right, I'm like rapid fire. My first question is that a real door behind you?
It is a real door.
Okay.
What's behind the door is
exactly
is to be hidden. That's my my walk-in closet in here.
Controlled chaos, people. All right. So
it is.
So the mindset of someone listening to this show is they have a business, they have staff, but sometimes they struggle with having the right people in the right roles and they're not getting ahead because of that. I see it just with my clients and with entrepreneurs. So can you just talk about anything having to do with that, your process, what you advise entrepreneurs to do, the mistakes that they're making around the people in the roles and who's doing what?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the philosophies that I've always held is that who you hire really dictates your HR complexities. So if you start from the very beginning and hire the right person, you can really eliminate a lot of those HR issues down the road. Often when there are HR issues, I find that the leadership team says something like, I knew there was something off in the hiring process, but they just continued to move forward and hire that person for whatever reason. They needed that button seat, which a lot of people reference. So we take a holistic approach in that process. That's one of the things that we do as talent advisors for our clients, is really identifying who you really need and doing it from the very beginning, so that when you're crafting a job posting, which is like an advertisement for the role, and when you're building out your interview questions and your process, you're being really clear and intentional about what that should look like. We have a couple different philosophies that we follow, from Who, the book Who, on how you hire exceptional talent, to The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lucioni. I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right, but we definitely follow that philosophy of who we hire and how we go about screening them and identifying them as that ideal team player. And then we apply that for our clients.
All right, so let's break that down just to this simple thing. I mean, I know that you're a process-driven business owner. I've seen it all in your marketing, all in like your site, your interviews, everything. The real question is there a process to the stuff behind your door? But that was a trick question. But getting back, if you haven't figured it out by now, like I love saying funny things every 2 or 3 minutes, because if I don't, people will not listen. So I'm like, I got to keep it real. All right. So process, where do you even begin with that? Like, do we just should we be doing some of this on our own? Do we bring you in and just like Teresa, your company deals with it? Like, talk to us about the process on what we need to be doing.
Yeah. You can absolutely do it on your own. So that's one of our other philosophies, is everyone has the ability to attract talent, to hire, and to retain them. We make it easy because we've done it over and over and over with a number of different industry specific clients. So for us, it's like any other process. How are you attracting your talent? What does your employer brand look like? So if you look from a candidate perspective and you're looking at a job posting, you're interested, you're not quite sure, so then you go to their website and their career page is either great, or maybe it's terrible, or maybe it's non-existent. So then they're going to go to LinkedIn in the professional world, and they're going to, check out, is there a LinkedIn company page? Is it compelling? What do their executives look like? What does the company size look? They might click in through there. They may also go to Indeed. Indeed is like a website for hiring. So you can look at that as an opportunity and a marketing tool to really boost your hiring. What does Indeed look like? Do you have team photos? Do you have photos of your location, your work culture, your gatherings, all of those things that really excite candidates?
I have to interrupt.
None of those things, it makes it hard.
I have to interrupt you. Whoever's taking notes and producing my podcast, because there's like a gazillion people, Teresa just dropped a massive nugget of gold. Like there were like 32 things right there. I heard about 4, but somebody make some notes on this podcast and put these in the show notes, because that was amazing. I think I'm doing half of them, but I need to do the other half. So like, I know this is a podcast, but whoever's taking notes, please put this on some note for me to implement. All right, back to the show.
I believe there's a tool that you can.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
your Zoom meetings that take notes.
Yeah.
The notes
Don't
usually
worry.
end up being terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a really important
amazing.
start. Yeah,
that is amazing. Okay, I got to get back to the right people for the right job, and
Okay.
Also, this is a show about money, so I'm gonna this is like complete fuzzy math, but I gotta say this. I believe that when my clients and the people that I see just hire the wrong person for the wrong job and they stay for, let's say, 3 to 6 months, I'm going to ballpark it as at least $100,000. Like, mistake's not the right word, because I don't want to be critical, but like drain on cash, because it just, you spent money to bring them in. It didn't work. Then you got to go hire someone, and the training and time costs, energy.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that you have the right person for the right role without hiring the wrong person? I know it's Lencioni and his Bible of shtick, but like, give me Teresa's Bible of shtick.
Yeah, I mean, so you can build out a process, right? You can have multiple steps. You can be really intentional about what questions you're asking, what information you're trying to gather. Honestly, so often it comes down to gut. Like, you get to the point where you're like, I know this is the right person. This is the right person for the role. They're saying these things. It's all lining up. It makes sense. And when you're dealing with people, sometimes you just have to take that chance. So if your gut isn't giving you those red flags and you're willing to take the chance, it's then what you do with onboarding. Like how, if people are bad hires, often they flush out early in the process.
Yeah.
So if you have good onboarding processes, you have really clear policies, programs, practices, you're going to identify that. It's not an ideal scenario, but it's better that you catch it in the first 6 weeks and you exit that employee than 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road. But honestly, like we put in all of the steps, but ultimately the decision to hire comes down to our client's decision to hire. We can support it. We identify every red flag. We make recommendations, but ultimately the choice to hire is theirs. And then they own that choice. Like they're the ones with the person on their payroll and all of that.
Yeah. Okay,
So.
cool. All right. So, all right, I have like an 82-part question on this one.
Okay.
The first part of the 80, the first part of the 82 is like, okay, you're an entrepreneur, you're growing, that like you need like a fractional HR person. You can't just like onboard someone for like 3 hours, have them sign some form and you're done. Like, you need someone that you could just talk to once a month or whatever. At what point do you think a business owner needs a fractional HR person? Is it the sales? Is it the number of employees? Is it how long they're in business? Is it their business model? At what point should they be like, you should just have someone talk to them 2 hours a month or 10 hours a month or whatever it is?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, it varies from client to client or company to company. I think there used to be a ratio of like one HR person per 100 employees. So if you're a 1,000-person organization, you can do the math and figure that out. It's no longer that way. You could have 12, we'll just say you could have 20 employees and you're geographically dispersed and you have one person sitting in California, one in Massachusetts, one in Colorado. You have a level of HR complexity with those different state laws that a lot of HR people just don't understand. So if you hire an in-house person and maybe they've only worked in one specific state, they don't have that multi-state employer exposure, it can be really challenging. And that's really where we specialize and where we come in is geographically dispersed, small companies that have HR complexities that may not warrant having a full-time high-level HR person who could handle it all, but they know they need help and they need a partner and they need to make sure all of their processes and programs are in order so then they can continue to do what they do in their business.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think I use this so much. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. And then when you find out what you don't know, you're screwed because you didn't do something in the HR space and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I can never get ahead. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? Like that's where you guys come in. It's like, you're like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I have massive egg on my face. Like, it's ridiculous. It's terrible.
Yes. And the challenge is that it is becoming harder and harder for small businesses to manage their HR when they've got employees in different states, which the COVID pandemic really pushed the envelope with that. We've always worked with technology companies that were, virtual first organizations with remote workers. The level that it's gone to in the last couple of years, the policies we've had to create in order to support that. We've had clients that have employees that all of a sudden decide to move out of the country, or they move to another state that company doesn't operate within, that they are not set up for those state unemployment laws and those other state laws. And then to try to either discipline or possibly terminate is a whole new challenge. So it's frustrating. It's hard. We've got clients that are international, UK-based clients, and then they expand into the US. And the best way for me to describe the state employment laws is as if, think about the US as Europe, and every state is its own country. Yeah, because every state drives different employment laws, and there's things that are popping up all the time. And honestly, it is frustrating. I wish that we could all be on the same page. I think it would make it easier. It's a challenge even for me with my small business. I have a team of 8. I'm a Georgia-based employer, and the opportunity to hire people out of state is challenging even for me. And it's a decision I have to make. Do I want to hire this person and then be set up in that state for the rest of my
I know, it's
corporate
brutal.
life?
Yeah.
Or, or what am I kind of subject to? So it is challenging.
All right. We have a
It's
few
not going to get
questions.
any easier.
No, I know that for sure. We have a few questions from the peanut gallery. There's like 1,000
Yes.
people to the right of me with the peanut gallery.
Okay.
Number one, we got to talk about Montana just to break things up. Are you from Montana? Did you live there? Like, what's your story with Montana?
So I'm not from I am from Montana. I consider Montana home. My father retired military. So I was born actually in Kansas, moved to England, lived in England until I was 7. And then my
Wow.
father retired in Great Falls, Montana, Malmstrom Air Force Base.
Wow.
And so I grew up basically from the age of 7 until I graduated college in Montana. So all of those formative
Wow.
years. And then I graduated, packed my Honda, and drove to Atlanta.
Got it.
So
Okay.
I've
So
technically lived
yeah,
in
yeah.
Atlanta longer than Montana,
Yeah,
but
but you like you were
Montana's
there
still
from
home.
7 to what, age 20, or let's just say, right? So everyone's
Yes.
thinking like, okay, I want to go to Montana for like a week, or like with my family or
Yeah.
with my spouse. Where do we go? Like, give us a few cities and a few things just real quick.
So I'm from Great Falls, Montana, which is dead center of the state. Couple hours from Glacier, a couple hours from Bozeman. I went to school in Bozeman, which is near West Yellowstone. So depending on the experience, if you want a dude ranch, if you want the whole Yellowstone experience with bears and bison, the hot springs, highly recommend. If you want your kids to see glaciers, go to Glacier and go soon. They are
Okay.
diminishing at a rapid pace. Glacier is spectacular. You can go right up into Canada, go to Banff.
Yes.
But the whole state, though, I mean, Bozeman, where I went to college, is amazing. It's just an amazing town. There's lots to see and lots to do. It's a massive state. I think it's like 12 hours to drive from one end to the other.
Nice.
So yeah, I would
Okay,
be
cool.
happy to give any referrals if you want to stop by and see my mom. She's still in Great Falls, and my sister. We were
I
just
love
there a
it.
couple of weeks ago. I took
it.
my youngest daughter home. So
All right,
it's a wonderful place.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I have to FaceTime you from there whenever I'm there. All right. The next thing is yeah. Like, what's just you, like, what's your morning routine? Like, what do you do in the morning? Like, are you like an email, coffee, journal person? Like, what do you have for breakfast? What's your morning routine? Because these are business owners that are listening, and you're a successful entrepreneur running this company in the HR space. I want people to know, like, what do you do for the first 2 hours of your day?
I do not do any meetings the first 2. My first meeting is at 9:30 or 9:40 in the morning. We do a 2 time a week huddle with the team from 9:40 to 10. And then from 10 o'clock on, I'm usually meetings. So my morning routine might be walking the dogs, drinking my athletic greens, my 2 cups of coffee. I'm kind of slow to eat first thing in the morning. I'm not a big like exercise first thing in the morning, other than taking the dogs out. And it's really just, if it's school, getting the kids to school, driving them to school, getting home, all of that. And then really just sitting down and planning the day. I'm a big note taker and planner.
Yeah.
And so my calendar drives a lot of my day. And unfortunately, it's been really full and really packed, but I try to stay on top of that with, time blocking and all of that. Being really intentional with that time that I've got.
I love it. Okay, so what's the note taking and planning? Like, what are you using, and what does that look like?
I've tried so many different things. I use either a combination of a paper notebook, and then I just use the notes app in my computer. And then some of the notes get transferred over. If it's a discovery call with a potential client, it goes into HubSpot, all of that. I mean, I've tried the whole like morning miracle 5-minute journal. I'm not a journaler first thing in the morning. I love consuming content, so podcasts, and I've been
Yeah.
binging your
Oh,
podcast.
thank you.
Pretty impressive. I'm
Thank
happy to
you.
be here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. And then my last one, I was going to put it towards the end, but like I want to just ask this. So you obviously you have this quote behind you, which it's amazing. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away, by Picasso. So what is your gift?
Oh my gosh, that is tough. I mean, I've gosh, you've stumped me. I'm very much a problem solver, I think. I like to try to make things easy. I like balance. Um, I think that how I've built my business is really based on generosity of knowledge and time, making things that are really hard and stressful a little easier. And so I think within the business, maybe that's my gift, is trying to take some of these complex things and just make them easier. Let people know, like, HR it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get through it. Um, Gosh, I don't know what my
All
gift
right.
is
I'm going to
now.
help you because I know what it is. By the way, everyone listening, the 5 million people in the peanut gallery, I've Zoomed with Teresa like 3 times. We're in EO together. I've never been no face-to-face, only Zoom.
Yep.
I think that your gift is to give business owners peace of mind, knowing that someone is holding the fort down on the HR space so that we can do what we want and not have to stress and worry about that. Because that's what I do for my clients with
Yeah.
money. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
really I want someone to, support me with HR and processes. And I don't want to feel like I'm the one that has to be worried about, oh, shoot, I didn't do blah, blah, blah. But wait, I have Teresa. You know what I mean? Your
Yeah.
gift is to hold the
Yeah.
space for people so that they don't stress and to make them feel like they had that
Yeah.
glass of wine or the cup of coffee or your athletic green juice that you drink.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Thank you for that. That's amazing that you've kind of gleaned that from our conversations. But that's something that is important to me, is like, how can we simplify these things, because they should be simple. A business can't continue to grow if things are broken, if they can't hire,
Yeah.
if they've hired the wrong people. Like, how do they move beyond that? So yeah, thank you
All
for
right,
that.
cool. All right, back to the normal questions. Not that
Okay.
those weren't normal, but so you did mention the word grow, right? And I think that one of the best, well, I've read this too, is one of the best assets that we have in our business is our employees. And yes, our employees want to make money, and they want to make money. I also think that there's an element of professional development and growth that our employees need to have. They need to see a path or they need to grow. And I'm just curious your thought on that. Like, what do you recommend business owners do with their employees with respect to professional development? Do you incorporate that into your process? What do I not even, so I know that I don't know a ton about it. I know enough, but I don't know gobs. What
Yeah.
should entrepreneurs and business owners think about with professional development for their employees?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of what we talked about in the beginning on how you attract people to your organization to apply. How do you attract candidates? Then how do you retain them? Through the pandemic, we saw a shift in what employees want, right? So it's no longer just about the high compensation, the perks, the benefits. They really want a sense of purpose. They want to feel like they're part of a community, and they want growth. They want personal growth. And so I think there's a lot of different ways to go around that. It comes down to everything from having a very formal career, progression plan, which a lot of larger companies have, all the way down to, in your one-on-ones, are you asking your team what's next? In performance reviews, are you doing them? And then are you planning things out for what's to come next? What area can I help support you in? Can I invite you to an event so that you can be exposed to other things like, what career path are you looking for? And so for us as a small business, I try to leverage all of the resources that are available to me, including EO. I invite my team members to attend learning days. I invite them to attend different EO events. Jumpstart July is coming up with EO.
Yeah.
And, when there's an opportunity to include a team member in something like that, even for a small, scrappy business, I think it's really an important thing. And it seems to be very appreciated on the employee side.
All right. There's 31 people right now who are listening to that one thing and are like, I want that. I want that. 31 million, by the way. I want that. So do you have any sort of like template or form that you can give us with those questions? Like, are you growing? Are you happy? What's the next step? Do you have anything like that you've created? Do you have anything?
No, possibly. So because everything we do is really custom and curated for clients, we do have an HR shop that contains a lot of forms and documents. We've got performance management packages, performance review documents that you can kind of put your logo on. We try to weave values and your cultural initiatives into all of the things that we create for our clients. So we have areas to be able to do that.
Wait, you have a shop?
Yeah, we have an HR shop on our website.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
It really doesn't, I don't get a lot of downloads or anything from it because we don't really market it. It's just a way to have information there. So if you need something, if you need an offer letter, you don't want to reach out to your attorney and you don't want to trust Chat GPT, which I recommend you don't. Trust Chat GPT. Then there's an offer letter template that has all of the contingencies and all of the legal things that you should have.
What's the link to your site so people can get more info, and then the link to this shop?
So it's Hire Ventures, and hire is if you're hiring someone. So HIREVENTURES.com. And then I think the HR shop is just under resources/HR shop. And there's a number of digital downloads, and then there's custom content. So if somebody wanted an employee handbook that covered all of the different states that they're in, that would be a custom project that we would do, or an HR audit, an investigation. We do some of those as well.
Okay, so just getting back to professional development, I love all of the stuff that you're talking about. I want my employees to grow. I want everyone's employees to grow. I think growth is so important. I think if you're not growing, both as the entrepreneur, business owner, if you're not growing, how can you model that for your employees? So it's something that I really pride myself in and really want to push my people to grow, because that's where I think really come alive.
I'll tell you one thing that I would share. An easy way to kind of address some of that is if you do employee surveys, whether they're NPS, ENPS surveys, pulse checks, or formal surveys, ask the question, what can we do to help support your professional development or your growth?
Just that. I love it. Just that simple question. I think that's great. That's so cool.
And then you have to actually read the answer and then you have to address it.
Yeah.
So, but adding that question, that's something that I've always done, is add those questions of like, what can we do to support you? What is it that you're not receiving, or what area of professional development would you like support in?
I love that. Hold on. I'm just hold on. This is so important for me and for everyone listening. Okay, say that again.
Adding the question on either an employee survey or a pulse check.
But that one question.
What can we do to better support, or to support your professional development and career growth?
What can we do to better support your professional development and career growth? Okay, perfect. Love it. Okay. I feel like I got to just bring this one up because I see it a lot. This is a two-parter compared to the 81-parter that I had earlier. It's the whole, independent contractor versus employees, you know, employee classification, Department of Labor, blah, blah, blah. This is what my take on this is. I think when the 4-hour work week came out and everyone was like, VAs, you know, virtual assistants, hire people who live in Egypt, pay them $3 an hour, blah, blah, blah. I thought we got too far into delegating without actually having people work for us with set rates and pay that only work for us versus getting someone who's too remote to work. I just felt like it just got too, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that for the right entrepreneur, they actually need employees who only work for you or majorly work for you. And that's really where the growth can come from. But people freak out about payroll and payroll taxes. It's not the end of the world. But I'm just curious what you think about employee classification, structure, rate, pay, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different ways to grow a business. And we've seen it in EO with business owners that have really leveraged some of those offshore resources. It's not a solution that I've been interested in. I've built my team to be together yet virtual. I think it really depends on what your needs are, but I will say that I hire contractors for specific reasons. So there are times where it definitely makes sense to bring in a 1099 contractor for a specific initiative or a project. But yeah, when you have your own team and you're in your huddles and you're in your team meetings, like there's nothing more rewarding than that.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I've heard you say that in a number of your podcasts about, you know, the idea of building your internal team and the benefits and rewards of that. My team is just critical to, honestly, to our delivery and how we are successful with our clients. If I didn't have a happy, healthy team, it would be really hard to deliver top results, right?
Yeah.
And so having employees that you can count on, that are dedicated, that are participating, that are there, it's a really important thing.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think with VAs, they're right for the right reason. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have them, but I do believe in having employees, and I just it makes me feel good to have someone on payroll and all of that. We actually haven't even spoken about benefits. Like that's such a big thing. 401ks, matching, profit sharing, you know, like health insurance, vacation pay. Like, is anything you want to talk about on benefits?
Yeah, definitely. I think that small businesses can still have a good benefit package. I know for us, we do offer benefits, but I'm never going to be able to compete with the larger companies that have very rich offerings. So in order to compete or to offset that, we have different benefits. We have autonomy in our schedule. We have flexibility. We have a very collaborative team. We reward and recognize a number of those things and deliverables. But there's ways that you can get around that. So we offer, where I don't have an employer-sponsored health plan, we offer a health stipend. So someone can purchase their own health coverage and then receive the stipend. There's a federal program to be able to do that right through our benefit, our payroll portal. It makes it really easy. And then we have other benefits and perks that we've added. We still have PTO, vacation time, all of that, holiday pay. And what I do is I leverage that same policy across the entire workforce. So if someone's part-time or full-time, they still are accruing and earning those benefits. They're earning PTO and all of that. They're just earning it at the rate according to which they work. So if they're not working in a 40-hour week, but they're working 20, that they're going to earn half as much as if they were in a 40-hour week. But it works. And I think that the big thing is really identifying, like, what about you as an employer is unique? Like, where can you really attract? Why would people want to come to work for you? From my standpoint, people that are in recruiting may not want to continue in the contingency recruiting world. There's high burnout. It's really, really tough. And then on the corporate side, HR has really become challenging over the last couple of years. It's taken a mental health toll on a lot of HR professionals. We offer something different. People can get back to the things that they love to do, but they're out of any of the politics. They're not, they're not dealing with a lot of the aggressive, competitive side of the industry. And they're really able to focus on building relationships and delivering, and they're autonomous in their schedule. So that has worked for us. But again, I think building a benefit package, it's not about just checking all the boxes. It's about what's going to work for your organization, for your team, for the people you're wanting to attract, and then having the right partners that can deliver on that. So
that's amazing. Well, that was part of your gift, which you'll have to go back and listen to the recording because you just nailed it there.
Well, thank you.
All right. Side question as usual. You've got an Apple Watch on, is that right?
Yes.
So what do you use it for? Like, are you doing steps? Are you doing calories? Like, what do you use it for?
I use it for a lot of different things. I definitely track the activity, and then I like that it integrates with email, calendar, Waze for driving.
Yeah.
My daughter is a diabetic, so I can monitor her blood sugar right through the app. So little things like that. I tried to go back to an old school watch that was really beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
And I went back to my Apple Watch. I love it. So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
What about you?
Are you standing like every hour? You know that stand thing? Because I have one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I use mine for calories, and then it's fun with my friends. Like we that workout friend thing. Like your friend just swam 12 miles. Like Bob just lifted weights, or like, I like that stuff. It's fun. And you can click the little prompts saying like, well, that's awesome. Or you nailed it. Or, did you miss the bus? Something like that. So I use it for that.
Yeah. Now we just went to Europe. So we took a big family trip to London and Paris, and we were there for 10 days. And so I had my very first like perfect week of all the steps, all the incline, all the stand, all of that. But in that week, I didn't do a Peloton workout. I didn't do even a meditation. I did nothing. So I lost my massive streak in Peloton, but I gained a perfect week in my Apple Watch. So
speaking of perfect, your hair is perfect. Like the perfect haircut style.
That is so nice of you.
Yeah,
Thank
looking
you.
Good. Everybody listening, you cannot see how awesome Teresa's hair is. She got it done in Paris and London and still looks good. All right, my final question. I read this and I want to learn more about this. It's about communication practices with employees. So I read this somewhere on your site, like rituals, Zoom, Slack, virtual forums. How can we as employers be better communicators with our employees?
Oh, okay. I wonder where. I think that might have been around our meeting cadence. So one of the challenges that we all have is communication, right?
Sure.
We have it. There's so much content. It's easy to miss things. So we've tried to create a standard where we leverage Slack for our internal communication or direct communication with clients. We're in a lot of their Slack channels, but we use email for outreach for outside of the company, emailing with clients, that sort of thing. And I really tried to keep it to those two things. And then we have regular one-on-ones with each of my direct reports. Mm-hmm. We do our 2X, we call it a 2X stand-up, even though we're not really standing.
What is that?
It is it's the philosophy of the daily huddle. So the Scrum meeting, we do it twice a week, and I have a very specific agenda. Start with a one-word open. We provide any updates or KPIs. We share priority of the day. And then one of the most important things is we do a core value shout out or any other shout out. And so if one person on the team stepped up and helps to support another, they'll give a shout out. And that is one of the best things. Like I've really been intentional about our core values when I was deciding to start to build and scale higher venture, not really scale, but build and grow higher ventures. I wanted to build the type of company with the people that I really want to work with, the people that kind of light me up, that I get excited to see on those calls and do the thing that we love to do. So doing that with our values in mind has been really important. So it's part of our hiring process. It's in all of our job postings. We ask specific questions about that. We do these, we keep it really relevant, because to hear one team member give another one a shout out is just, it's like, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's great. Can you give me a quick example of what a core value is for Hire Ventures?
Sure. I mean, generosity is one. So we're generous with our time, our knowledge, and our ability. Also, we do give back financially, but for us, generosity is really important. So there's a lot of people looking for jobs right now, and there are people with applications or resumes that really they're missing the mark. And so if a candidate's gone all the way through the process and maybe they're second to be chosen, one of our consultants quite often will work with them on, let me help you recraft your resume, or let me refer you over to another contact that I have. So being generous with that. Also telling the story. So over LinkedIn, we talk about telling the story. If we see something, if there's a post and there's something we can share or we can comment on, telling the story is really important. So
Amazing.
Our core values are, all of those things. Innovative, being easy to work with, is a really important one for me personally, because like I said, HR is hard. So being easy, I guess it goes back to maybe it is part of my gift, is that's always been really important to me, is being easy. Life is hard enough. So the work that we do, taking the drama out of it, taking the complexity out of it, and just trying to make it easy is something that we try to do.
Do you know that song by Lionel Richie, I'm Easy Like Sunday Morning?
Yes.
You got to play that at the start of your 2X team huddle and just get the reaction of all your people and be like, well, what's the takeaway here? All right. Anyways, Speaking of generosity, you've been so generous to come on. Thank you again for coming on the show, Money You Got This. Your website link is Hire Ventures. The resources tab is where the forms are. And I'm sure people can connect with you on LinkedIn as well. So thank you again for coming on. It was really, really nice to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And when I think about those 82 questions, I feel like we didn't quite hit 82. So
we got close. We got close.
If you ever want to reconnect on those other ones, I'm happy to do that. Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a question? Want to get in touch with us? Need some help and advice with your finances? Just go to coolmoneyshow.com and reach out to us. That's coolmoneyshow.com.
Krane Financial Solutions is an SEC-registered investment advisor. However, such registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and no inference to the contrary should be made. A copy of our current written disclosure statement discussing our advisory services and fees is available upon request. Information contained herein is for informational and illustrative purposes only and general in nature. It should not be considered specific financial planning or investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any type of securities or other investment products. No investment decision should be made based solely on any information provided herein. We do not provide legal, accounting, or tax services. We recommend that all investors seek out the services of competent professionals in any of the aforementioned areas. Certain information provided has been obtained from third-party sources that we believe reliable. However, it's not been independently verified and is not guaranteed.